yours truly. Today, Tatiana can join us. We have our special guest, Jasmine Morrison from Star Legacy Dance Center.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me.
Hey, girl. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Jasmine Morrison, as she said, I'm the owner of Star Legacy Dance Center, which is a very small, inclusive dance company. We prepare young children, specifically young children, for the dance professional world, strictly by getting them in the classroom and shocking them with intense dance training and ballet and jazz, also hip hop and everything else. And then we get them into competition right away. And that breaks that stigma of you have to train for 10 to 20 years in order to compete. We want them to move very quickly because that's what the industry does.
Nice.
Oh, awesome.
You're doing a good thing, girl.
Today's topic is, I'm sure everybody's watched, our whole week has been fulfilled with this, surviving R. Kelly. Comments, topic, come on, give it to me.
Yeah, there are just so many layers to undo about this topic. I mean, where do you even begin? Well, let's start with the history of child abuse, right? It dates all the way back to, the 1900s. I mean, laws in New York City, for example, weren't passed until, specific instances that were reported to the police over and over and over again. And what happened is, New York State decided, we need to put an entity into place that's going to, unfortunately, manage these things. So, that's when Child Protective Services came in and things like that.
And I just feel like even in our culture, child abuse isn't, there's not a lot of a lot of light being shined on it. It depends on what you consider child abuse. Because I know R. Kelly went through a series of child abuse, but what do you consider child abuse?
Well, child abuse, if you actually look it up and do some research, by definition, also includes neglect and maltreatment. And what those things consist of is children are being starved or not not clothed properly, which would be considered neglect. And then you have other forms of abuse, which would be emotional abuse, constantly talking down on the child. I use this word loosely, rewarding them with bad rewards, that terrible reinforcement of, I'm going to hit you if you do this over and over again, which just does not show good emotional support. Then you have, unfortunately, sexual abuse, which we all know what that could be. And unfortunately, adults do these things to kids, and that's why there are laws into place.
Now, let me ask you a question. Do you think that justifies anyone's
I was about to get. I'm like, y'all give the details.
Adult behavior after the fact?
You know what? I'm not. I just feel like when I first watched the episode, they immediately went into the fact that he's been abused. He's been through things when he was younger. I don't care. We all go through different things. It just depends on how you react as an adult. You're an adult now. So you take it upon yourself to get that help so you won't be who you are. Or what you're doing, it's wrong. Period. And it's the people that's around him that's pushing it. No one's stopping him because they're scared of him.
Yeah.
Because you want to bump and grind.
Again, I want to go back to the culture thing. I'm in my 30s, admittingly. And I grew up during the 90s. I grew up during this was like high and mighty, I remember going out with drug dealers, being 15 and dating guys who way were above my age. I know friends who their moms were okay with them, dealing with older men as long as, these older men were providing something like a light bill was being paid.
Right.
Or a cable bill was being paid.
Right.
Yeah.
And this was okay.
The case, yeah.
The culture was that it was okay for you to date an older guy. And I mean, honestly, and I know this is, my family's super naive. We come straight off the boat, I'm first generation American. So, my mom's process of thinking was kind of like, just get you a guy around men. We don't care how old he is. We don't care, what he does. We don't care if he sells drugs. As long as he got some money and he can support you, then you're fine.
And that goes back again to history, because even dating back to slavery times, it goes way back into other countries when women were treated as objects. So we have to look at these things like, for example, what you just mentioned, a lot of mothers around that time were, marrying their children into grown-ass men when they were just 13 years old. I mean, if you ever read the book Pride and Prejudice, Pride and Prejudice is a great book by Jane Austen, but the storyline was about those children, of course the main characters, but those children being married into marriages because those men had money.
Right.
So over time, and you Americanizing these things, and I say Americanizing meaning white Americanizing into black culture and these views and morals that white people have tried to force on us during slavery times, you know. And one of the things was like raping black women was a thing because white people on the plantations were doing it. So you're not teaching the black men on the plantation how to treat their women. So this is what they're seeing. So this is what they know to do to their black women.
Agreed.
And so now you have people like R. Kelly who have money, just like the plantation owners, who have power, just like the plantation owners, who are taking upon themselves to say, these women are my property, doesn't matter how old they are.
Right. And how do you gain power?
Money, girl.
Yeah, but besides money, how are you gaining? You have to forget the money and what level you are in stardom. Like, how do you gain power? It's the people that's pushing this to make it okay.
Yeah.
So, like, if there were no people, then you wouldn't really have power because money would just be money.
That's true.
Because you could be rich but no one would know. So what's the difference? It's just how people are pushing it to be okay. But I got a question. Why is this out now? Like, why is this out now?
Yeah. I think
20 years. Like, why?
I think that they've made many attempts at getting at R. Kelly. You know, they started off in the early 90s, you know, with the Aaliyah thing. And then you push forward and that fell through because, of course,
even when that happened, he married her and it was like, whoa, this is so bad, guys. Whoa.
Right.
And then, like, years later, I Believe I Can Fly. I was like, I want to fly with him, too. Like,
yeah, that's true, though.
Again, when you know what it is? It's the media. The media has this ability to take what is real, the facts, and kind of blur it and make it so
great. It's entertainment.
Right, and it make it so great that you as a human being have to say, okay, I got to make a moral, judgmental choice here. Is he okay? Is he right? Or is this just the media trying to, you know, make us look bad? So you make choices. And there's some people that have said, okay, I'm going to stand by him and support him because clearly over the years they have made 4, 5, 6 attempts in the media that we've known about, many that we don't know about. You know, and it hasn't gotten anywhere. So you know what? I'm going to stick by him and I'm going to believe him instead of what we think the media is trying to portray.
What about the, what was it? The assistant?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or the backup singer? Or
no, now we ain't gonna get to her yet. The black man.
The manager.
The
manager.
The manager. The black man? Okay.
The manager. Who saw
the manager.
Yeah. The manager.
Yeah, so...
The fucker.
He seemed like... Yeah, he seemed like a very sweet man. Like, the way he was talking, everything was like, oh. And so he was like, yeah, I asked him, are you dating Aaliyah? I'm like, why you gotta ask? Now I'm starting to think what Lifetime is doing here. What questions are y'all really asking him? Like, oh, is he like prepped to say these things to make himself look like he was victimized as well?
Of course.
Like he didn't know what was going on.
And that's
you knew that.
Handle.
And if you're his assistant manager, whatever it is, you're following him all the time. You see all these things going on. That's what made you question if he's even dealing with me in the first place.
Right.
So that means you know. And then he says he was there when they got married. Oh, you just let this go.
But that was okay though, right?
It was okay.
But you didn't know what was happening.
Put 18 on the.
But you knew that they were getting married.
And it's just ridiculous. Like I don't care what anyone
I feel like
have to say.
everybody got paid off at the table.
All
parents that did their interviews, all the women that came out, all the victims, every single last one.
Yep, and it was the Spanish one. I think that was probably the worst one.
The girl with the 14-year-old.
No, the girl, the black woman you're talking about?
Yes, she was Spanish and she was 17 when he first started.
She
got like
she was
that was a perfect example of her she wasn't wrapped up too tight either.
Well, I think the two things on the subject that we should really get into is the excuses for R. Kelly. Like over time, even in the documentary, there's proof, there's videos that his supporters were like, that's not him in the video. It wasn't him. He's a genius and all of these things. Even people getting interviewed, even journalists, famous journalists that we know, like Miss Info even said herself, like, you know, I went to go see R. Kelly myself and I still had that thought of, wow, like, let me leave these reservations I have out the door because he's a musical genius. I personally wouldn't have done the interview at all.
I mean, again, you know, there's so much.
But he got off, right?
There's so much that we don't know that goes down with these interviews and with people backing. Again, so much of the time there's so much stuff so many scandals that celebrities go through, and they say, well, this isn't true, so if this happened to me, then I'm gonna assume this is happening to him. Mm-hmm. He's just, they're just painting him out to be this evil guy.
It's just easy to take it lightly because it didn't happen to you.
Same thing with Michael Jackson. How many accusers came forth saying Michael Jackson did something, still, to this day,
I still love that man. The thing is that,
say what I
well,
mean.
the difference between R. Kelly and Michael Jackson is that there's no concrete
There's
evidence.
no evidence.
And those people
Okay,
came
I
out
want to say
afterwards and
Macaulay
said that.
Culkin having a spin down, spiraling career to drug addict and God knows
Wait,
what.
but hold
It's
on.
a clear indication that man did something.
There was allegations, yes, but there was no concrete evidence, like she said.
There was no concrete evidence.
Michael
that
Jackson.
those people-
have you seen him?
We got a video of R. Kelly's
Peeing on somebody.
Yes.
Peeing on
over a
adolescents.
girl.
And people
Michael
still
Jackson just
say,
want to
I mean,
moonwalk.
come
And now he
on.
moonwalking
I
to heaven.
mean,
Let him moonwalk. Look.
Come on, seriously.
I love that
I
man.
mean,
Like-
yes. And even in that video that you're talking
Yeah.
about, they're still saying it's not a
It's not
clear
R. Kelly,
shot.
it's
It's
not
not
R.
R. Kelly.
Somebody-
It's too blurry. It's
I still
too
didn't see it to this
distorted.
day.
Somebody
I'm
made a
sorry
good
to say
point.
that I
I
have
never
seen
seen
it, and it's so distorted. It's on a VHS. It's really blurry. You really
Did you see the
cannot
video?
tell. I've seen the video. You cannot tell. It's so old.
What, did it make you sick?
Yeah, it's.
What
it's
happened
it's,
to it again? He just beat on the girl?
No. There was a lot. There was a lot going on in the video. The video is not only that, but that was a big part of it. You could tell that whoever is in the video, because I don't know. I'm gonna say it's R. Kelly, but I don't know.
But he was in there
whoever
with,
is in the video is
It was
high BDSM activity.
I remember being a kid
You know?
and hearing about this whole case. And I remember like it was yesterday because it was on the radio and everything.
Right.
I don't
It
remember
was.
how young I was, but I do remember saying to myself, that wasn't him. I said it to myself. I didn't even see the damn video, and I said, that wasn't R. Kelly. And the reason why is because...
Others were saying it?
No, it's because of his music. Like, his music portrayed all these different kind of sides of him. I didn't know it was of him personally, but, you had, like, I Believe I Can Fly. You had hearing him writing music for Whitney Houston and Michael Jackson. So he had that kind of like.
Yeah.
So it was almost as if like you had to forgive him, even if you did, believe it. Because it was like, why would he make this song? But I was dumb as fuck because I was a teenager. So again, going back to the girls in these cases. They were dumb as fuck. They were teenagers.
I want to
They were
totally
teenagers.
touch
Are
on
they
that.
dumb, or they're just naive, or they're just swindled, or they're
Right.
scared?
Like I don't mean.
It's
I
a
don't
lot. I
mean
want to
to.
say it's a combination of everything you
Yeah.
said. I want to say it's a combination of everything.
I don't mean to
you said.
insult their intelligence by saying they were dumb.
Yes, they are very naive.
Naive, yeah.
But again, we have to go back, and the reality is that, imagine, there's women nowadays, as an adult, I have a guy who I've been dating for God knows how long, who calls me sometimes, doesn't call me, who is playing with games with my head, and I am an adult.
Yeah.
What do you think a impressionable, hormonal teenager whose idea of a superstar, picking me like he picked me, he liked me. I mean, there's adults that would feel that. I mean, I would feel that way. I mean, Drake, But anyway, so I can only imagine what a
How the kids are
15-year-old,
feeling, right?
16-year-old, 17-year-old, 18-year-old girl would feel.
Yeah.
And
How
I
can you
asked
say no to
myself
that?
that question because I'm thinking like you said, go back, right? If we remove this law, for example, this is how you really find that out. And you say, let's say this law didn't exist. Let's say that a minor and an adult could date and do whatever the hell they wanted. It was legal, right? Then you have to discuss the psychosis of it all. Like, are you saying that as a 31-year-old person that you can honestly say you're attracted to a 14-year-old mind? And if you are, and let's say it's legal to do this, then that means that there may be something a little bit wrong with you. Because there's no way that I could live for that long and be almost old enough to be your uncle or even your damn father.
Yeah.
And for me to be attracted to you. But it makes sense though, not saying it's okay, but it makes sense for R. Kelly because they said that his mind is not really fully developed as an adult anyway, because his innocence was taken.
How old was he when he was dating Leah again?
Late 20s,
28, 29.
Yeah, 28, and she was like.
You know what?
15.
When she came out with the song "Age Ain't Nothing But a Number," because I was young, not that young,
which
I'm
he wrote,
29, which he wrote, that was a good album. But the thing is that I'm thinking at the time, like, yeah, I agree. Age ain't nothing but a number because it depends on your mentality.
It depends on your mentality.
How you are as a person, as an individual, and
also,
how you operate in a relationship.
Are you an adult literally abusing a teenage girl?
Right.
Because if you're a 31-year-old and you're dating a 17-year-old about to turn 18, but the both of you are mentally intertwined and you're in love and you're treating each other with respect, then how do you compare that to R. Kelly and a 17-year-old girl? And I tell you how. I'm not holding you captive, and I'm not harboring a sex cult in a damn studio.
But we are calling it a sex cult. We, the public, they are not calling it a sex cult.
Right.
They are stating that this is a mansion that R. Kelly pays for, and I have a brand new car. I got my bills paid for. I come and go. I go to every concert. I hang out with every celebrity.
Some of these girls are okay with it.
That's
the thing. They're okay with it.
This is a good life.
The proof.
Until I don't get to do what I want to do when I want to do it, then maybe.
Where's this mansion? Is it Chicago?
But Atlanta.
Girl, it's not in the Chicago.
Girl, like.
But I want to really go back and touch base real quick. R. Kelly was sexually assaulted when he was 10 years old. At 10 years old, his sister made him give her oral sex.
Him and his brother, right?
I think at that point, he's psychologically fucked up.
Yeah.
Future going forward.
Yeah.
He doesn't know how to defer the difference between, okay, this is not okay, and this is okay. Because since I'm 10 years old, this has been okay. Adults with minors. Like, I don't see the problem. And then the thing is, if you think about it, going back in the 90s, and all artists across the board, you talking about Jay-Z, sorry. You talking about Damon Dash. You talking about all these older men, Biggie Smalls. You talking about all these rappers who publicly put it in their music, who okayed it. How many times have you not said if she weighs over 100 pounds, she can get it? If she has a rug, whatever the saying is, I don't really know them, but if she has bush, then she can get it. I heard that so many times over the years growing up. This is in our culture. It has to stop with us. We have to stop it.
And say something immediately.
We have to say, this is not okay.
Yeah. Okay, but what about, I don't want to play devil's advocate, but what about if you're dating someone, you're 18, you're old enough to make your own decisions, but that person is, 32? What do you guys say about that?
I think it's wrong. I can tell you that mentally, I'm 38 years old. I've dated somebody who's 24. I'm not proud of it, but I dated somebody who's really young.
It was a male?
A male.
So if it's a male, statistically, they're...
Yeah, they're stupid. I know. They're dumb as shit. But I will say...
I ain't say that, y'all.
Sorry. You guys don't go for
I'm just glad somebody else said dumb as shit. I said dumb as fuck. But she said dumb as shit. So
I was going to the statistics.
I feel better about it now. I feel better.
Men hit puberty at 30. We all know this. But anyway.
That's crazy. I ain't saying any of that. I was
saying a little bit before that, girl.
I will say
women are 5 years more mature than men are.
So imagine, I mentally could not wrap myself around that relationship.
No, I was saying,
I know women are a lot more mature. But
what's happening is what he was doing with the girls is the problem. Because
of course.
Honestly, like I said, if you take that law away, the age law, if you take it away, it boils down to what the person is doing and what he was doing with them, and the girls didn't know it at the time, or they knew but they just didn't know how to get out of it, was that they weren't giving him consent, like verbal consent, that I want to have sex with you, and these other people that are also being taped and recorded with you right now. So I think that was the problem, is that he's doing it with underage girls. Yeah, but they also didn't know that this is wrong.
I will say that too. I don't know if women, not all women, but I don't feel people, of a certain age can articulate what they want and what they feel properly. I mean, I think that comes with maturity. I think that comes with a long time of knowing
and
what
it's
you
fear.
want.
And
and
it's
fear
too.
and manipulation. That
No, I'm sorry. I disagree. I'm sorry. No, because my mentality is different.
You
if
sure?
I was
Strong woman here.
Niggas that I was raised differently. I was raised by two amazing parents, and they weren't even together for that long. They separated when I was 5. And look, I've learned a lot. I have older siblings. I know right from wrong. I know I should not be with no man, but in the house by myself. If it's not my father.
That's true.
Like, I know it's not okay. I know they should be asking me to do certain things that's inappropriate. I know if people like, oh yeah, because you are Kelly. Oh, can we do this? Can we do that? You know, I could give you a record deal.
And you know that
give me
because
the
your
deal.
parents
Let me sign this contract. I'm still not going to put my mouth on your name.
But you had good parenting.
And that's the next thing
That's
too.
Good parenting.
Putting
Even if I didn't,
responsibility
I
on them.
truly feel like my mentality is set in a way that that's not okay. First of all, I get disgusted
But you
about
know
stuff.
that,
I
you
would
know
be a
that
strong
because
woman.
of your parents. though.
Right, I
And
know
you're
you're a
true.
strong woman. So let's just jump back really quickly to the psychosis of R. Kelly and what created him and his movements, his way of thinking. Because again, this goes back. This goes back to how he was brought up, and is he even at the mental stage? He might just be right next to these girls. He might just be 17 years old mentally.
Yeah, he
might have never
he can't
grown
read, or he can't read and write, or it's just read
Not well. He can't read
well, or but
writes
he's able to make
well.
amazing music.
But
See, that's
he's very
how you know,
imaginative.
right?
I mean, it's been proven. And I've studied psychology in school for years now because of my second career choice, which is social work. So a lot of that I've learned that people are more creative when they're considered, and this is not a documented term, but we would call them crazy, like people who have maybe some type of mental deficiencies
or been through a lot,
or been through so much, like sexual assault, for example, and it has affected their psychosis to the point that side of their brain is traumatized. So the other parts of their brain are working still, like the creative side.
Yep.
So we say R. Kelly is a genius, but we can't forget the fact that he's making these choices, these illegal choices that are hurting younger kids.
Just like, isn't Einstein a genius? But he couldn't. What he couldn't do? Something he was lacking, which was very common. Yeah. But they called him a genius. So it's like, what is the actual definition of a genius if you're lacking in certain areas? So I feel like I thought genius was you're just well-rounded in every area. So why is it
being a genius doesn't make everything you do okay?
No.
You can be a genius. You can be the greatest at what you do. But ultimately, morally, you gotta make some choices.
If you take that away,
I mean, like we all go through, our things. People can say that my psychosis is a little crazy. I've been called crazy in the past, right? But I morally know right from wrong.
Right.
And I can get to a point and say, okay, you know what? I don't think this is right.
Right.
So now it leads us into, okay, we as the public see this. Do we support it? Do we support his music? Do we say, am I gonna go buy this album, knowing that this album is contributing to enabling him to continue to pay and the mansion, the house, the girls, the cars, to continue to enable this whole situation.
That wouldn't stop him from doing what he wants to do, whether we stop buying his music or not, or listen to it.
But how do we stop it from happening in that whole industry, though?
I think we can't do shit. I think it's the people that's around him, the ones that's like in his team. Like the people that he was bringing, what was it? He was bringing the people to the malls
Let me
to
ask
pick up
you,
the girls.
if you stop supporting him, you stop supporting the team. If the cash flow stops, that means the cash flow for the whole team
I ain't buying
stops.
shit. I don't even buy albums.
Well, we have a position, right? Just like it's our position to buy the music and get these people rich, it's our position to not buy the music. And it's not our choice to, it's not really up to us, like spiritually, to condemn someone. But then it comes down to your personal decision and your support. Like, are you supporting an artist who's writing music about his sexual affairs with these young kids, and because if you're still buying his music, you're still supporting the habit.
This is true.
And if you support him, then it kind of leads to every other artist in this
and they
industry,
think it's okay.
and our whole culture accepting it.
Yeah.
Because that means we have to say, okay, we're gonna make an example out of this situation and show you that we can hold a united front and say, you know what, our girls matter.
And you never know, this may turn up into a situation where he can seek help.
Yeah,
because God works in mysterious ways. Like, I don't know the exact story in the Bible, but I know there's a story where somebody was extremely rich and God took all those riches away, and that was the only way that person was able to make changes.
Because I mean, have you seen the media?
I mean, that's just life.
He was just celebrating his birthday and rubbing it in our faces. Yeah. Kind of like, ha ha. I'm still doing what
he
you
was like, I confess. No, confess. Tell us the truth. Right. Confess your mistakes. Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, we're enabling him, and every person like him in the industry, in our culture, because this is happening within the music industry, this is happening within the acting industry, this is happening within the writers. There's producers, directors that are taking advantage of actors, that are taking advantage of young singers who are inspired, who their goal in life is to get further out. You can only imagine a young girl, 15 years old, super ambitious, had a shitty background growing up. My mom's doing coke, my dad's the alcoholic, I gotta take care of my little sister, and here's R. Kelly offering me the world.
You're just doing anything to survive. Yeah. That's the difference. Like, it really does depend, like, what your upbringing is and what you've been through.
Yeah, parents have to understand that, yes, it is your duty to provide and to pay the bills and put food on the table, but you also have to be that leader, that role model. Like, you have to have those difficult conversations. Like, I know in Black culture, not in my generation because we're breaking the cycle, but like my parents' generation and their parents' generation did not want to talk about sex, did not want to talk about rape, did not want to talk about how to have protected sex, because that would mean if I'm teaching my kid how to use a condom, then that means I'm telling her to go have sex, which is completely stupid. That's just stupid if you ask me, because if you don't have the conversation, they're going to find out a different way, and hopefully not with R. Kelly, but that's how it's going to happen. How many people have said me too? Like, there's other recently that 1 in every 3 women has said me too. And then you if you're in a person that has been in that position, unfortunately I have, you have to ask yourself, like, thank you for sharing that. You have to ask yourself, like, what could I have done to make sure that happened differently? And as an adult now, I realize it's because I wasn't talking to my parents. But then in our culture, which comes up next with our parents, is we may not feel comfortable coming to our parents, especially the Caribbean ones, because parents with Caribbean background, forget about it. You're going to hear a bunch of rumba and all types of stuff besides something supportive. Right. So we have to be the generation to break the cycle and teach our girls. And I have 2 girls, and one of the first conversations I'm going to have to them is about their power, because they're Black queens, but that also their power is in certain areas. Needs to stay, or not even just stay close, but if they trust someone, if they've done their research, if they talk to their parents, the boys' parents, and they're protecting themselves. They're not doing that, 14. But the conversation, conversation is what needs to happen, and I think that's what's going to stop these things from happening. Unfortunately, some people are mental, so hopefully there's not still cases like this, but there may be. But
I don't want to say that they're, like you said, some of them are mental, yes, and that's what causes a lot of these things to happen, including the victims. But what if you're just scared? Like, what if you're just scared? As the girl or as the victim? Boy? No, let's say. Because
we got to talk about that next, too.
Yeah, like, as the victim, as the girl. Like, let's say you're dealing with R. Kelly or whomever. Even if you're in a normal relationship, it's so-called normal. And you know the person, did your background, blah, 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 but they make a mistake. Same mistake R. Kelly made, but you thought you knew that person. Like, you're just scared. Like, what do you do? So are they mental? Is the other person mental?
Well, it depends on what you're talking about. Because if let's say if they have sex, and then during whatever's happening, the girl's like, I don't want to do this anymore, get off of her. Get off of her.
But again, it goes back to the home. Yeah. This is stuff that communication with the parents, women and men have to have these same conversations with our sons that we have with our daughters. You know, again, it all goes back to the home. So you have the home situation, which started for R. Kelly, right? Yeah. Then it leads to his psyche never really being taken care of and reenacting the same thing that happened to him going forward. Right. Wait, so where does the cycle stop? Where does it end?
Right. The conversations. Like a lot of people, like even Future, for example, was doing a podcast and he said people giving too much attention to the situation, just stop talking about it and blah blah blah. No, that's not the solution. The solution is to keep talking about it.
You know, worse than talking about Molly Perkins saying, I ain't listening to anything.
Nobody want to listen to your ass talking about drugs and shit. You are the problem. That's why this shit anyway. But the conversations that we're having, like I believe that this generation right now is a generation of change.
I absolutely.
It's not gonna happen right away.
Absolutely.
But like if you look at Black Lives Matter, it's the conversation. If you're looking at Me Too, it's the conversation.
And social media plays a big part of it too.
And next thing you know, the laws are gonna come, and I think I'm very hopeful that these conversations will bring attention to this, so that people.
So how do we end it?
How do we end it?
R. Kelly.
I
want to say this. You know, I'm usually the type of person that supports the artist. You know, I mean, supports the music. You know, supports the craft. Supports. You know, I try not to get involved in what's happening in a person's personal life, but when it involves making a change in society, when it involves changing how we move forward, how we treat our children, how we change the cycle, then yes, I'm all for muting art.
That's not kind of hypocritical. Sorry, I don't want to be negative, but it's like, why only do it for a change? Why not do it because it's like, he discussed it.
Because sometimes someone's personal life, you know, so everybody's human, everybody has to make mistakes. This is not a mistake. You know, everybody's human, so sometimes we as human beings, whether you're an artist, whether you're an actor, whether you're a director, you have the right to make a mistake. Now, making a mistake and being a pattern is something completely different.
And not recognizing and verbally.
It's a pattern. It's a problem.
He's not coming forward and publicly even...
admitting any
He's not going to tarnish his name like that.
I'm
sure his lawyers are telling him to shut up. But
it might help, though. It also might help because if you think about people that have sincerely apologized and also have shown change in their behavior, I mean, America's pretty forgiving of them. But
everybody loves a comeback.
Everybody loves a comeback. Thank you.
Yeah, everybody loves a comeback story.
You were saying that he's not admitting. Oh, he doesn't feel like he's wrong.
Right.
Because it's a lot of people. Us, for example, it's a lot of times we have arguments and we're wrong and strong.
And we really feel like
I'm gonna get that point. I'm gonna get that point.
I really do. I'm just saying.
Right. I wanted to actually mention his brother, the one that was in jail.
Yeah.
Okay, first it bothers me that there was interview with him while I was in jail.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know why he was there in the first place.
What you gotta do.
But I want to know why he was in jail in the first place. I'm like, did he do something?
Right.
Like I didn't know what was going on. I was like, I can't trust this man. But I was like, let me not judge a book by its cover, even though the cover is correction facility. Right, it's real correction facility. But I was thinking, he also said, it's his preference. Oh, yeah. I have a preference. I like older women. He like younger women. It's his preference. What's the problem? That's the problem.
Right there.
Where y'all took your ass to that jail, interviewed his ass. That was the problem.
That's probably why your ass
right, and that's probably why R. Kelly feels like he's not wrong. That's probably why he has not apologized. It's just terrible.
Yeah, his mental is that I'm not doing anything wrong. So why are you looking? But at the same time, does he really think like that? He made a song that I admit. Do you really think he did? That he did something? No, he did. He wrote a song.
He sure did.
I admit
what? He said, I admit.
He didn't admit anything.
Right.
But the point is,
he was talking around.
Right.
Around it.
Just like Ray J was like, I hit it. He had a girl that's like,
I admit it, but he didn't really do that. So
here's the thing. Does R. Kelly really think he didn't do anything wrong? I mean, you admit it, right?
To be honest with you, I don't really care if he thinks what he did was wrong or not, because I know right from wrong because of my parents. Because my parents taught me at a very young age and ongoing too during the stubborn ages around high school when I was being stubborn, what was right and wrong. And if it takes for you to tell me to leave the house for a couple days and don't have a pot to piss in so I can learn that it's wrong, then that's what's going to happen.
Discipline.
And ever since then, I knew right from wrong. That's for damn sure.
Where's his mother? His mother
I didn't get to wipe my ass.
And I feel about the involvement, about the survivors' parents. The people
They're not
that were
involved.
involved.
There's no involvement.
The people in the interviews.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I think somebody took a little bit of cash under the table.
You think? How do you think they
sure.
were able to even get interviewed? Like,
I think so as well.
Lifetime paid them, Kelly paid them,
Oh,
the
yeah.
manager paid them, even the brother in jail probably paid them.
I mean, you could say, for the most part, I mean, you could see the shame, you could hear the shame in a lot of their voices when they were even introducing, like, telling the story before the climax, like, you could hear that shame, like, and yes, I dropped her off the studio and I left. And my first thought is, you knew, everybody said in the interview they heard of the allegations and you still
We're
left
speaking
your
of Sparkle, right?
child alone.
Yeah.
I'm speaking of
Speaking
Sparkle.
of,
Because I didn't see no other parents in it.
no,
The
there were
other
other parents.
There's two sets of parents. There was
There was a couple, a married couple.
Mhm.
There was two married couples. There was the mother with the ponytail. This is like in the last episode series, but
Right, there was
basically
two sets
her
of
name was
parents.
Dominique.
Okay.
Dominique was the one that he was changing her outfits to make her look more like a boy. So, you know, the way she was introduced. At one point, the mother did try to intervene and say, you can never see my daughter again. And then the daughter, kind of age,
How old
was like,
was
I'm
she?
leaving.
Oh, okay.
But I still feel like at some point with some of these parents who introduced their children to R. Kelly, they should have never done it in the first place because of those allegations. Because allegations like that should never be
why
swept
aren't they
under the rug.
present with their kids?
That's the thing.
You
They should have
know what?
been there.
If my daughter, if my mother, whomever, if I'm being brought to a place, industry, whatever, and they're gonna tell me like, oh, you're gonna get signed, my mother's not letting me go by myself.
Right.
I'm 29. She'll probably still try to come. Like it doesn't like it's like it depends on your parental and how you were raised.
I agree.
And with these
I
parents, I don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't
don't
get
know.
it. Even when Sparkle was saying in the interviews, like with her niece, I think the niece was actually one that got pissed on in the video. That sounds bad, my bad. But
Yeah,
the one in the video, yes.
Urinated.
Yeah. Look, her. It's like I don't want to point the finger at no one, but I'm gonna point it at you because you knew.
Yeah.
And the thing is that she was dealing with that man as well. You knew. You know how he operates. You
But
know how
even
everything goes.
Sparkle in her interviews,
Full
she
of
said
shit.
she doubted it, she questioned it, she kind of said, you know, again, you were talking about a lot of celebrities who come forth and they're gonna say the same thing. We didn't know. You know, we wanted to deny you. We were lying to ourselves.
But
We were
she's
saying,
14. What was she? 14, 15? The little girl?
One of the
14.
girls.
What, even if you
Yeah.
knew that he was doing that or not, why is it okay for her to be alone with him?
Exactly.
Why is she having sleepovers
Right.
with this grown ass Santa Claus fan?
Agreed.
Like Santa Claus bring all the kids together.
Agreed.
That's wrong. She's like,
Agreed.
yeah, because all the other girls are gonna be there. I was like, wait, is this really happening right now?
Who knows? They could
It's
have
just
been, they could have
terrible.
been
It's terrible.
paid, or for all we know. We
Right.
I want to hear one last topic because I don't want to forget about it before. How do y'all feel about every celebrity within our industry that knows about it, that has enabled it, that has somehow contributed to it, that still to this day denies
They're
it,
protecting themselves to be
covers it?
Mm-hmm.
If we knew R. Kelly, how far does this actually go?
I think
crazy.
obviously we all know this, that they're not going to mess up their money. They're not going to come forward.
But-
My thoughts, because I thought about this too. My thoughts were like, everybody's not going to be Nick Cannon, because Nick Cannon came out and said some things on his Instagram,
Absolutely.
right?
He did
He
his
did
whole
his
school.
whole
All
thing.
about R. Kelly?
Now, whether or not his publicist told him to do that, whatever, but I pat off to him. But
No,
I think a
Nick
lot of
Cannon-
celebrities.
I'm sorry, let me just
Yeah, I
remember
know
to say,
someone, right.
Nick Cannon interviewed Dame Dash on his podcast,
Okay.
and he straight up asked him about what was his involvement with Aaliyah, Jay-Z's involvement with Aaliyah, Jay-Z's involvement with Beyonce. The fact is, Beyonce was 17 when Jay-Z started going out with her.
happens.
Let's just be real.
Wait,
we love Hope. I
happens.
love Hope. I love Beyonce, but the fact of the matter is,
Yeah.
Hope started with Beyonce when she was 17 years old.
And look what they had now.
People-
Everybody praise them.
People have
So
to get right.
it's our culture.
Get right with themselves. Like once I'm thankful for this documentary because people can really reflect on themselves and say,
Me too.
shit, like let me address this before my entire life goes in shambles. And if that means that they personally reached out to those girls, those who are now women probably, and apologized, I hope that's what they're doing. And I pray that the country can use this and turn their lives around and really just come forth personally to people, publicly, whatever they want to do, and really start to heal the wounds.
Yeah, there was
It's
one
happening.
of the who got interviewed? I believe it was the backup singer. She was getting interviewed. I think it was the first episode. That one actually touched me the most. Because I think she was probably 14, 15. She was pretty young. And I don't think she actually had any involvement with him. She was just seeing everything. And she couldn't really say much because of her age and how overbearing he was and controlling. So, like, I felt like she was really giving insight on everything that happened with Aaliyah. And then the fact that she was close with her and then she passed away. So it's like her story can't fully be told because now she's dead. So that was the most touching part of the whole series. Yeah. Everybody else,
yeah.
Alright, so I also want to like address, you know, how this is going way back because, you know, it's good that, you know, it's social media is talking about it. We have Jada Pinkett talking about it. We have celebrities talking about it, and that's great. But we need to not just talk about it. We need to make the changes in our community, in our culture, because this is where it starts. I mean, I can share a personal story where, you know, I went on to dating drug dealers who could have me achieve more. And even though I wasn't sexually active with a particular person, there's this one person who had a very powerful impact in my life. He was a very, very large drug dealer in our community. And he dated a lot of women. And he had a lot of women doing a lot of things that we didn't want to do. But we did because it gave me $7,000 in my pocket. You know, it gave me a nice new car to drive in. You know, and whether he knew it or not, whether he knew that he was just manipulating me or whether he, like, what could I possibly serve this older man? This man who's lived on this planet 30 years. How can my mental match his at all? It didn't. Instead, he fucked me up for life. Because of that, man, I do not trust every person I walk into. Every relationship that I have had from my early 20s until my late 30s now has failed. You know, I have major trust issues. And this is going back to now my psyche. Now, am I the perpetrator? Am I the predator? Am I going to now go to the next person and do the same thing that happened to me? Am I going to emotionally inflict this on someone else? We have to stop the cycle. Yeah. We have to be the change that we want to see. Because I could easily go out with someone and say something like, you know, well, I was hurt and I feel like this, so I'm just going to treat you this type of way. You know what I mean? Or I could easily.
It's okay.
I could easily.
I'm about to cry with you now.
I could easily go forward and say, you know, like, I did this and I've been through this, so it's okay for me to treat the next person like this, and it's okay for me to victimize the next person. Where does it stop? Where does the cycle stop? And we continue to make it okay by buying their music, by allowing our children to listen to this. When is it within our community? How many times have you not heard within our community, our culture, my uncle hurt me, my uncle molested me, my aunt molested me, my cousin did something to me. And these people are the same people that repeat it over and over, and they become the predators. And so now you have this older guy or this older woman looking at this younger person with enticed eyes because they went through that. So how do you not then know when you become the predator?
Well, I think you have to remember what it feels like to be victimized. And when you remember that feeling, you have to associate that with who you want to be. Because if you say, this is how I felt when this person raped me at such a young age, this is who I am now because of it, are you going to now decide, this is going to make me feel good to do it to somebody else? Because if you decide this is going to make me feel good to do it to someone else, that is when you have become the person who's going to do the same thing, the perpetrator. When you decide, I have been victimized by this, but I want to survive, I want to be a survivor, I want to teach people not to do this, or teach young girls to not put themselves in that situation, then you are far from the perpetrator. And another side of that, because obviously we're women, so we're going to talk about the women point of view, but also for the man point of view, for the young boys, you know, a lot of them now are even more intelligent now because a lot of them are in schools. But now, unfortunately, we're hearing that some of this stuff is happening in schools more often. You know, I mean, we've got one thing on our list now checked off, that our black boys are getting educated, but now we have to check off that cycle, the rest of the cycle. You know, are you still having sex with women that is not consensual? So women, I really do think that women have an impact. Not to say that we should have everything on our shoulders, but the mothers, the girls in that situation right before they're about to give consent need to make
again, yeah, I think
clear.
that we need to have conversations.
And the
with
music, we can't change the music, but we cannot listen to it. But are they really gonna not listen to it?
They're not. It's not gonna change.
Know, so I think people, the answer to how do we change this is ongoing, because I mean, not one person can change it. It has to be us collectively as a culture.
What if it's like there's nothing that can fully change it? What if you just have to work on your own psyche, work on yourself to make you feel like, whether this is not okay or not, like you have to work on yourself to make you feel like I'm okay. Yeah. Or the victim has to talk to themselves and say that I'm okay. Yeah. What you went through, you have to tell yourself, I'm going to be okay. I have to find a way to trust someone else. I have to find a way to just...
I needed 10 years of therapy.
Okay, well that's what you needed. But
I couldn't figure it out on my own.
Yeah, and that's fine.
Applaud her for that, because
everyone doesn't do that.
Because a lot of people don't.
You should have
a lot of people don't say I need therapy.
It's hard. It's hard to even define when you.
But you said something about how I just summed up everything, like your story, and basically it's like you're young, you had no guide, you had nothing to like basically put you in the right path or the right route to say like, you shouldn't be doing this. You should just be like protecting yourself. Like you're worth so much more. But it's like, you know Summer Walker?
No.
No? Okay. Well,
that's fine.
I just found out about her. It's fine. Like a month ago. She's like a new artist or whatever. And one of her songs is Girls Need Love Too. And she says, girls can never say hi. Girls can never say they don't want it. Girls can never say I need something. Basically to a guy. And they just feel like they don't know what to do when it comes to God. They don't know if I should say yeah, I should say no, I should say hello, I should say like, oh, thank you, because everything just leads to something else. So it's like you're at such a young age, and even if you're not a young age, you could be an adult, 30 years old, and you're still like feeling like you need that comfort from someone else. So you just don't know how to fully protect yourself.
And the boys don't know what to do either. They feel the same way. Like I can't have sex now. Like it's in the boy turn into a man's nature to have that sexual drive. Yeah, they have to fulfill that. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that you take it from somebody. You take somebody's innocence away. And black father, it's not even black, but any father has to come in and make sure that your son knows. You had the police conversation with them, had the conversation about consent. It's the same thing. Key. It's just up there as the police conversation is. Well, you don't want your black son to die from police, but it's okay for him to, take somebody's innocence away and a sexual nature.
And
these women are fast.
I really want to say that it's not only a sexual thing, it's a mental thing. Because with me, we weren't sexually involved. But he just had a mental trap on me that I couldn't get out of. Yeah. And I just felt like, this person was helping me, and this is the first person in my life who has ever helped me, whether it's good or bad, it's help. And it's like, I now need to help him. I need to show him that, I'm appreciative, and I'm gonna show him that by doing this, whether it's illegal or not, this was my way of doing that. Which is what I'm sure these girls have been through. Yeah. But then on another note, like, he was 30 years old. He knew exactly how he was messing with my mind. I always sit back now as an adult and say, he took my innocence. He took what I believed to be pure and white and honest in the world, and he completely dissolved it for me. At 16 years old, I became a mother.
And
So that goes to say, like, I lost everything. And I can never get that back. I can't get my teenage years back. I can't get my childhood back.
Right.
It's gone. We, as a society, as parents, we have to start this conversation. We have to talk to our kids. We have to stay involved. And it's not only our parents, it's our neighbors, it's our friends, it's our teachers, it's everybody around us who knows whether something is wrong or right, and they do not do nothing but sit and watch.
You see
It
something,
is
say
our
something.
obligation.
For real.
They call that the bystander effect, which by definition basically means that people can see what's happening, they can hear what's happening, but they're not going to step in themselves and do something about it, and they're not going to, they may instead mention it to somebody else and hope that they say something. So it's a cycle of, oh, the person upstairs is going to say something, the person downstairs will say something, the person next door. So we have to speak up. Even if, you know, even if it might mean that your life is going to be a little bit at risk for saying something, would you rather go on life knowing that...
No, everyone's not in that space to do so. Because I'll admit, I'm one of those people that sometimes I'm like, well, it's not happening to me. I'm going to mind my business. Well, because I was taught to mind my business.
If you see something that's happening right in front of you.
Oh, no, I'm saying
right? That's what really what it means. Because you can't, there's no bystander effect if you don't see it happening.
Yeah, sure.
So if you see it happening, you have to say something either to the person or call the authorities, the proper authorities that are doing it. If the house is on fire, you're gonna call 911.
Right.
If you see somebody hurt on the street that's bleeding, you're gonna call 911.
Yeah.
If somebody comes to you and says, I literally just have been raped, can you help me? And you know who the person is, but you don't want to say nothing because they're a neighborhood friend or something, and you don't call 911, you're part of the problem. So say something, you hear something, say something. You see something, say something. Even if it's
don't be a part of the problem. Don't say, he's my employer and I can't say anything because I'm going to lose my job. So don't be the person who sits back knowing that that person's getting raped. Don't be that person who sits back knowing that their student has an issue only because you don't want to cross that line. You know, if you are not saying something, then you are a part of the problem.
And also too, I think for people that need to know, younger parents, it's good to keep your children in activities. Keep them busy. After school programs, if somebody is into dance, for example, which all of us are into, you know, we grew up in dance programs, that's probably why, you know, we are who we are today, because we were kept busy. So whatever it is, broadcasting, art, to get them into something, and don't give the excuse of, I don't want to take them away from their studies. There's no such thing.
Yeah, let them branch off and like express themselves, especially if it's through art.
Real
quick story, I don't want to drag this out, but picking off of both things you said, I actually had a chance to say something, but it backfired on me. But I was okay taking that risk. Like one of my students, she it was a situation where her best friend came up to me and said that she basically got raped in the bathroom at my job. And I worked at an after-school program. At the time, it was during summertime, so we was there all day.
But by law, you were mandated to.
Oh, I'm mandated to say so.
Yeah.
And even if I wasn't mandated to say, I'm saying something.
Right.
I feel like I'm all of those students' mothers. Like, I'm their mother. And I have no kids, but I just feel like I just have to do something. So when she said that, I'm like, oh no. So I got all the story. I spoke to the girl, everything. And she's just adamant, like, yeah, this is what happened, this is what happened, this is what happened. Then we went and checked the cameras, and that's not what happened.
Oh.
So,
I see.
right.
So you did your part, though.
I did my part.
Because had it been true, you would have done your part.
Right. Either way, like, I was at
goodness.
risk at losing my job, but I knew that I had to say something.
Right.
And I thought twice in my head, I'm like, shit, I think I'm going to do it. And that's basically what happened. But even if it's like something false or you're not sure, even if they're lying, because kids do crazy things or outlandish things because they don't want to get in trouble or look like a hoe. But at the end of the day, like, you always, if you go through something, it's fine. But if you guys need anyone to speak to, we're all here. Contact us. We have emails. You can hit us up on Instagram or Facebook. Anything, just contact us. We're here to speak. Here to hold it down.
And for anybody that needs some help on getting their kids in activities, just reach out as well. There are plenty of resources. We all know people.
Absolutely.
And we can also help you with that.
Right here.
And you can send any one of us a DM, yours truly, all of us. We're all here available to talk. So don't forget. And stay tuned in.
Yes, well, thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank
and
you
we
for
want to thank our
having us.
guest, Jasmine.
Yes.
Thank you.
Great
Thank you.
guest.
Yes,
She's a
yes.
good friend, y'all. She ill or whatever. But tune in every other Thursday and we'll talk with yours truly. Thank you guys.
Bye.